Welcome back to the Unleashed. I'm your host, Jared Beeler. Hey, I want to address something. There's a lot of discussion going on right now, and I want to make a quick video. It's raining out, so I'm shooting another one in my truck. And I want to address this topic about the rapture possibly being at the end of the month or right before the elections. I've got people sending me different videos and things like that, people's dreams and stuff like that. I'm happy to go over it. First off, I want to point out, I sure hope they're right. More than anything, that would be totally awesome. You guys have heard me say on the last video, though, that I'm kind of looking more towards warmer weather in the summer. That's how it was in my vision. Does it have to be real? Exactly the same? No, it doesn't, but so far everything is lined up exactly the same so far as it's unfolding. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it. But let's go over this idea real fast. If it is going to take place by or before the elections or by the time of the end of this month or right in the beginning of November, let me point to some reasons why that could possibly be a reality. First one is, in 2018, when I was told the Feast of Trumpets is for the second coming, all right? It's going to line up with Daniel's timeline. When we take Daniel's timeline of 1260 and 1290, you get 2,550 days. If there's an overlapping in the 1290, as in it's not an exact starting point, it overlays something like the Abomination of Desolation or something like that that takes place, and it's not 2,550, it's like 2,520 days. Either way, it's a difference of like 30 days. But roughly around the time of Feast of Trumpets, if you're going to come back 7 years, it would mean that the starting of the tribulation, which does have a length of time, the number of days I just told you, is starting sometime in the fall, late October, early November, okay? That's why in videos in the past couple of years, I have looked at it when we're still looking at the possibility if the rapture is going to get pushed off to last minute, that it would take place at those times, okay? So if it's going to be a last second thing, where it happens right, maybe the peace deal is the peace deal going on right now, and it really is going to go through, and we get out of here absolutely last second, right before it goes, then that would give us a credential that it would actually be taking place at the end of this month or in early November, okay? So that's totally fine because that actually lines up with the numbers. Whereas if my idea of it being in spring, there would be 4 or 5 months of chaos, Gog and Magog unfolding and things like that, and then it would still take place around the same time when the peace deal is actually signed. It's a fall time event. Why? Because it ends in the fall. It's a 7-year complete cycle that goes around. Okay, so totally give that credit. So if it does, that would be totally awesome. Do I think it? No, but man, I sure hope so. That would be great. I think it's going to get worse. I think whoever gets in next is going to be a part of the plan. They're going to push forward with the stuff. Forced vaccinations and stuff like that. The restrainer's still here. The same way they've tried to pass their RFID chips and other things like that where it's mandated stuff, it gets screwed up. It gets screwed up. That's why they can't do it right now. There's so many people that realize that the COVID stuff isn't that bad, where if it was bad, if it wouldn't have been restrained or changed on the scale that it has, they might have more power to do that, but it's still being held back. So for that reason, even if it does get bad, you're not going to be forced to do anything, not yet, all right? Do you take it? Do you say, like some pastors and stuff out there are saying, oh, take it because it's not the mark of the beast, will be gone by that? That's a very, very, very dangerous statement to be making, all right? Everything we do right now can willingly be done. You can sell yourself over to it. So if the mark of the beast is already out and you're putting chips in yourself and it coincides with what the Bible says and you say, well, we haven't been raptured yet, so it's not the mark of the beast, be very, very careful because it very well could be, all right? You may have already sold yourself out. If you're doing anything along the lines of what is warned not to do, you're in a dangerous place, okay? So just keep that in mind. I would love for this to take place. I really would, and I hope that it does. But, I don't go by moons and stars and planets and things like that. People try to tell me that there's going to be certain alignments that starts to get into astrology stuff and things like that. Will the stars and things line up when it happens? Like I've said before, I think there's going to be lots of things that are going to be written out and shown to us at the time. But I don't go that route, which is why I don't talk about those kinds of things. It's a bunch of silly nonsense, right? Same way with all the stuff that gets thrown. There's so many things to get thrown. People are trying to grab so many different things at once. And I don't do that approach either. I only go after the important things. And then the other stuff I let slide by because they're distractions. That's their whole point. It's to distract you. It's to wear you out. It's to get you off guard, and to get you chasing wild gooses. All right, and to go different directions. So, yeah, I don't always go that way. But let's kind of look at it for just a split second here, and let's think about how this could be a possibility. Okay, so if the rapture does happen at the end of the month, let's say it does, all right, boom, those that are walking with God, they get blasted out of here, changed, just like everybody's talked, foreseen, and stuff like that, all right? I'm gone, right? And the world does a peace deal, and the thing kicks off. It would mean that Gog and Magog wouldn't be taking place before the tribulation. It would be taking place inside of it, in the start of it, all right? For those that don't know what that is, that's an attack that comes from the north of Russia and Iran and stuff like that. America's not there to defend Israel, all right? So they get taken out. I'm gonna address something real fast. Gog and Magog isn't at the end of the 1,000-year reign. There are two different ones, distinctly. And it does have to be in the beginning. I'll tell you all. I'll just go over it real fast. The Gog and Magog at the end of time, at the 1,000-year reign, God comes down, burns them with fire, and we go into the white throne judgment where he remakes everything new. Nobody's escaping or doing anything else. The Gog and Magog from Ezekiel 38 and 39, 1/6 of the army is left to go back with their tail between their legs to realize that the God of Israel is God. They get totally annihilated, but a certain amount is left to go back. If that was going to take place at the end of the tribulation, if you're going to say, well, maybe it's just another way for saying Armageddon. No, evil's thrown away right then, and everything starts new, and the only evil is what's created from people's own choices during the 1,000 years, okay? So that throws that away. So it has to happen, the one that's speaking of, at the beginning when this attack happens, and it hasn't taken place yet, okay? So that would have to happen inside the tribulation, whereas my idea, if it were going to be next year, it would take place during the summer. All right, and along with other things, possibly Damascus being destroyed from Isaiah 17, and a few other things that would lead then to a worldwide peace deal, where they would do in the fall, because it's always going to be in the fall whenever the tribulation starts, which would lead to that starting point of that happening. Okay, it's the rapture that has a fluctuation point within the timelines, the time frames of 7 years, but might not be exactly when it starts, or it could be if we're looking at the end of the month. So that's something to keep in mind too. And if it's about to happen, all right, remember, nobody's there to protect Israel, and right now we're the #1 allies, which means America goes first. We get taken out, okay? Whatever way, financially, militarily, whatever it is, we don't have it happen. So let's put this into another scenario. Rapture does happen at the end of the month, okay? America's going to get taken out first. It has to, because one of the next things that needs to plague very soon, because Israel hasn't fled at the end of the 3.5 years, all right, into the tribulation where they go into Petra and Jordan, which means it would be taking place very soon after America gets destroyed, and it would mean that Russia would still be a standing army and fully active enough to go in and do the Gog and Magog attack with Iran and Turkey and, or not Iraq, sorry, Iran and Turkey. I guess I did say that, and make that happen, all right, before a huge amount of them get destroyed. So that's something to keep in mind too. All right, so it would have to take place fast, but that means that America's judgment, America's destruction, all the troops that are going on up in British Columbia right now, all the wildfires being set on purpose in California and the West Coast to soften up the targets for a West Coast naval invasion, which is why China's been building the islands out there. It would mean it'd be taking place this fall. Could that happen? It's not too strategic to do it in the wintertime unless you are doing a mass scale attack where you want the populace that flees to go in the mountains to freeze out in the wintertime. Then that is strategic. But setting up camps and stuff like that and getting ready for a long-term takeover is really stuff that you like to do in early spring or early summer. That way it's not so hard on your troops as well. Of course, if you're doing a clean nuke strike like the East Coast is supposed to get from Russia, it definitely could be possible. So, it's interesting. Obama moving down to Palm Springs, moving his house from a mile from the White House. Okay, that's another interesting thing. Those that know that he sold out California and Hawaii, along with the whole country, basically, to China some years back when he was still president. Him being in the White House area and it being, or DC being a strategic strike point and stuff like that, but him being under the safety of China on the West Coast down in Palm Springs, if there was an invasion, is the same as a turncoat during the Revolution who's turning in colonists and stuff like that to the British, I know they're going to be under their safety or whatever, so he might have moved there for that. So is it strategic? Is it a reason he moved down there? I think so. I totally think so. The guy's been a turncoat the whole time. You guys have heard me talk on him from multiple things, including the Andrew Bellagio stuff during Project Pegasus, him going to Mars, him knowing about it, him being the right leg the Roman Empire, where he's actually born out of a pyramid south of in southern Egypt, and under just like the movie Twins, where they created him with not only Nephilim DNA, but with other stuff with his mom. And him being a created being, possibly, does it turn out to be somebody else that's going to be in there? There's a lot of people that have seen Obama being the one, and he's the only one to fulfill it at this point. If they are going to have somebody come on the scene to be the Antichrist, he's going to be making steps very fast, all right, fulfilling all the prophecies on what the Antichrist needs. If not, Obama's already fulfilled all of them, okay? So just so you know, he was checking them off on a checklist, doing it from talking crap about the Bible during some of his sermons, speaking diverse languages. These are all different prophecy what the Antichrist would do. Yes, we can means thank you, Satan, backwards when it's played, all right? His America symbol with the Obama sun rising is the same as Hitler's. Not having a need for a woman. We all know about Michael Vaughn, his husband, a.k.a. Michelle Obama. There's a number of different things. The only things that haven't taken place yet is the injury on his right eye. This is what I'm guessing takes place during the tribulation from an assassination attempt where he comes back either in a clone or another body that's made for him, and Satan takes over his body, okay? So, I mean, he's the guy for that. But him moving down to California, I mean, that's kind of interesting, especially at this time. It might be the go-ahead this is about to go. But I mean, more and more people are catching on to it. There's troops up in British Columbia. People are getting them on film. Chinese troops. Trudeau out of Canada sold out to all that to supposedly protect their investments that they have with China, and which is why he's allowing troops to come up there. But I think it's just to also guard the northern border of America, because we're going to get hit from all sides when it happens. America gets hit hard and fast, and unfortunately, America is Mystery Babylon that is spoken of. And I say Mystery Babylon, it's the Babylon spoken of that's destroyed in Revelation. It's traded with the whole world, made everybody rich in the world. Its abominations have spread to the world and everything else. And in 1 hour, they see the smoke rising from the distance from the ports, shipmasters and things like that, and they can see the smoke rising, okay? So when it happens, it's not going to be pretty. The whole thing gets taken out. Of course, you know the Dmitry Duduman prophecies and stuff like that about the East Coast getting hit by Russia and the West Coast getting hit by China, and it's a foul swoop. It's sheer numbers and people getting taken out. There's really no defense against it. And anybody who's seen it after that in the vision, there are no weapons and stuff like that. It looks like they colonize this pretty fast and get things under control. Pretty terrifying for those that are here. Those that know God, that have given their life to Him, you will be taken out in the rapture before it even happens. And we go up to be in heaven for 7 years while it's safe before we come back and totally annihilate evil with the master of the universe, okay? But will we go through hard times? All right, there's talk from so many people that we have to be out of here because things are about to get worse, and we want to be left around for that. Let me tell you something. For the entirety of 2,000 years now, for those that are Christians, have gone through persecution. In fact, it's your daily walk to carry a cross that you go through persecution and hard times and difficulties. Whereas the tribulation itself, we're not appointed to. All right, it's the wrath, it's the judgment. It's finally going to happen. But any difficulties and stuff like that, we've always been appointed to him. That's just how it is, okay? So saying that it has to happen, not necessarily. We don't know that. Not if it's not the tribulation, because that is going to be signed and confirmed, all right? Like I said before, just because you're having a bad day doesn't mean the tribulation started. So forced vaccines come out and other stuff like that, but they still haven't confirmed the covenant, then sorry, the tribulation hasn't started. And you do what you always do. You trust in God, and you deny it. You deny the face mask. You deny the vaccines. You know, the same thing that you do that you'd be doing normally. The same thing that I'm doing. It's worth fighting for. It's worth living for. It's worth dying for. Okay. You have a choice. You have a right to choose these things and to not do it. They cannot force things on you. Right? If they lock you up for it or whatever, I mean, it's still your choice, and it's your job to not give in. Okay. And there's been many times when I'm told that I have to do something, but I know that it's wrong. I know there's an agenda behind it, so I don't do it, okay? I have a long story that I'm not going to tell right now, including one called the throat protector, okay, in the military. And it was the same line of nonsense, had nothing to do with that. It was a type of control or whatever else. But you fight it, all right? You fight it. You constantly push it off, and that's just what you do. So I just want to briefly go through this as fast as I could because I don't have that much time today, and I wanted to make a quick video and kind of talk about this being a possibility at the end of the month. Those are some things to expect, all right? It would mean that Gog and Magog would happen during the tribulation instead of possibly right before it, and And also, it is the time for the tribulation to start in the fall, okay? That is when it starts, is in late fall, and that will line up with Daniel's time, his numbers, his days of numbers, all right, that are given for the length of time for the 7 years, okay? So, I mean, that makes it a possibility. I mean, it would have to happen right now. Do I think that that's going to happen? Man, I wish that I really felt that it was, because I've been looking for it, obviously, really hardcore since 2014. I mean, I really, really have every single year. And obviously it hasn't, but I know it's coming soon. I know it's coming very soon. I've even been told by God that it's coming soon. In 2019 was the last time, and he said almost time, all right, on that Friday. It was Friday the 13th in September, okay, while I was at work. All right, that was the last time I heard him say anything about the length of time to it. So is it going to happen soon? Yes, it absolutely is. Do I think it's going to happen at the end of this month? I would love for it to happen like that, but honestly, I don't think that it is, and I hope that I'm wrong. I really do, but I think it's going to go into a little bit more depravity and crazy chaos in America, but maybe it's not. Maybe it is time, and that would be awesome. Honestly, I can't tell you because I don't know. Nobody really knows for sure. We'd like to think we do, that we have a guarantee, and like I say, more than anything, I'm lining up with my vision that has come completely accurate so far the whole time with every single detail, and it's still, even down to the last details right now, still taking place on different little things, and I have tore that thing apart thousands and thousands of times looking at every single angle of it. And like I say, though, I hope that I'm wrong. Hopefully it's some sort of collage of things that are all taking place, which is happening and taking place right now, and it doesn't mean that it's actually going to happen at that time. We would go before that, so that'd be cool too. But time will tell. We'll find out towards the end of the month, and we'll see what's going to happen. But do I think things are going to get worse? Yes, I do. I think they're going to get a lot worse. Whether Biden's in or Trump's in, stuff's going to keep pushing in a bad direction. And we're gonna see some of that stuff. But no matter what anybody tries to do or force you on, you always have the choice not to take a vaccine and not to do what they say. And rebellion is one of the most critical duties. Remember Thomas Jefferson, right? When tyranny becomes law, rebellion becomes duty. There's multiple different ways to say that. It's the Robin Hood idea. Okay, it's the right thing to do. It's what our forefathers did against England and the tyranny that they had, including taxation and stuff like that. Okay, when it was completely wrong. We're so far past that now, it's unbelievable. We should have had a revolution years ago. But you always have that choice to do that, and encourage people to do it. When you see something wrong, you rebel against it, okay? I'm a big fan of defiance, all right? But I just want to get a few words out here real quick and talk about this kind of idea of this happening at the end of the month. I pray that it does. I really do. And hopefully you are too. But if it's not, hang in there. Stay tough. Be rebellious. Be defiant against any tyranny that's coming your way as usual. Okay. God bless. I'll catch you next time on Unleashing. Bye.